All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are having a happy Friday. It looks like there might be a few decent templates lining up. Let me know which ones you think might be the best ones for today. You see any pairs out there that you are like, man, I pulled up the chart this morning and I saw it and it's just, I've never seen anything better. John, Polly, good morning. I've had a quick glance myself, and I've already noticed one or two potentially decent candidates, but obviously the thumbnail and title of this video being, can you do this with other instruments other than just the ones that I look at? So we'll talk about that too. Letting people flow in. We'll get started here in a couple minutes. Come in, say hello. Make sure you like the stream as you're coming in, and looking forward to it. Should be good. We got a minimal news Friday compared to the rest of the week, which has been news hectic. So hopefully we can find some good 3-day setups. Shaky, good morning. Evening to you. All right, we're getting started, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. Going into the weekend, TGIF. Thank God it is Friday. Let's get it going. All right, so I'm not gonna, clickbait this. I'm not turning into a. Some of you might be like, man, is Cam turning into a crypto YouTuber or whatever? No, absolutely not. But I get this question a lot about, can I do it on this or that? And I think it's important mentioning that a market in general is really just an overall reflection, of human behavior. So let's go through and make sure that everybody's aware real quick. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not advice. This is only for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please pause this, read this. I'm not a financial advisor. Good deal. A market in general is really just a reflection of human behavior. And with this system being heavily reliant on looking at the highs and lows of the day, the current day, which is information that is always being provided and fed to you at all times, on any given day, I can look at a chart and say, this is the highest place that the market went, and this is the lowest place that the market went. That's the open, that's the high, and that's the low of the current day. Those pieces of information are very objective. And I can also use the previous day's high and previous day's low, and those levels are also extremely objective. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. That is the high of yesterday. That is the low of yesterday. And that is where the market closed yesterday, which is all the information that we're using in order to essentially, do or use this system. Shaky mustache gone. Why are you? Oh my gosh. No, I just, had to change it up a little bit. Did a little shave. Maybe I'll grow back. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Anyways. So going through and looking at any chart, it doesn't matter which instrument you would like to trade. It doesn't matter which instrument is your favorite. And I'm not saying that I have a favorite instrument. Now, do I have instruments that I think maybe move a little bit more fluently? They move, like the templates develop. They seem to develop a bit more nicely. Maybe pairs that, if you notice the volume, or they're more lightly traded, they feel a little bit clunky in the movements of the price. Those are the ones that I try to avoid when it's a little bit clunky, but or consolidated. If they can constantly move and then consolidate, I'll avoid those as well. But as long as a market has a high and a low, then you can use that information and use this system. It doesn't matter if I'm looking at, let's see if we can go through. You can look at any pair. The market only does three things, and it's going to continue to do those three things forever. Okay, so, they'll break out, they'll reverse, and they'll trend. They'll break out, they'll reverse, and they'll trend. And that's just going to keep happening. So it's not about having a favorite pair. It's all about which pair has the best template, which one has the playbook set up that is reliable, and then using that pair for that purpose on that day. So can this be used for crypto? Yes. Do I personally use it for crypto? No. And the reason being because on a lot of things, this is what it looks like. It's a little bit hard for me to read price action for my entries and things like that when charts look like this, and that is why I avoid them. Sometimes trading on a 5-minute chart, I can get away with it, and I think with pairs like this, maybe the 5-minute chart would be a better option. Things like, you can do anything, really. Let's go down. What is this? Doge. We'll give this one a look. So 5-minute chart looks pretty decent. Maybe the 1 minute's going to be a little bit rough. So I would have to be, 1 minute on this looks okay. So maybe this is something that I could have on my watch list. If this is something that you would like to trade and you have decent spreads. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, Shaky. The spreads on crypto are usually massive, and that is another big reason why I don't like to look at them. I think futures might be okay. Like Bitcoin has a futures, and that one's okay. And just for those of you that maybe like to trade crypto or whatever, you can just discount. You would discount the weekend, right? Saturday and Sunday, that weekend consolidation, whatever. And then coming into the Monday, you would just use that as normal, just like you would use for any other pair, or like I would use. I would use the same times as I use for currency and other things. But anyways, let's get into today's actual stuff. And I'm just going to, as always, try to do a reminder. This is what we're looking for. These are the setups that I am searching for. I'm only looking for these. I'm going to look for these scenarios. 3 sessions of breakout, 3 days of breakouts. Peak formation high, 3-day rectangles, peak formation high, peak formation lows. Sometimes we get these things that look like this, and you get big parabolic moves the next day. First green days. First red days, first green day traps. All right. First red days. First red day traps. Only coming off of those closing price. Trending markets, breakout, pullback, continuation. Breakout, pullback, continuation. Breakout to the downside, 3 levels of rise. Breakout to the upside, 3 levels of drop. Let's get out of here. All right, so let's see. I got a question already. As I'm going through this, if you all have questions, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer. Still don't know why you would discard days. So if it's a 3-day system. I don't understand what you're asking, Sam. Let's go and take a look at the NASDAQ first. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Go take a look at NASDAQ first and see what's developing. All right, so Wednesday, we're going to start back over here. We already did this at the beginning of the week, but we'll just go back and reiterate. They triggered the previous day's low in an up-moving market. Breakout day 1 on Friday. That reversed on the following day. They triggered the low, so maybe looking for a pump and a dump. That didn't happen. It kind of did over here on Wednesday, which it was a 3-day setup. Trigger the low, pump it back up, tries to get back down there, and they did. Got back down to this level here. All right, the breakout level. So it was a pump and a dump. This is a perfect pump and dump. Triggered a low 3 days. Day 1, day 2 inside. Day 3, they triggered the previous day's low. And then they went back for the high and stopped out those breakout traders that traded to the downside. Now, this was off of news. So it was pretty difficult to be tradable. But then it went... Can you look at the CAD? Yes, absolutely. I already looked at it this morning. It's looking pretty decent. So I'll make sure to go over that. So we triggered the low here on Wednesday, which is going to trigger in breakout traders. They're going to get the inside bar traders going short. And it also completed the pump and dump pattern from Monday. which could even maybe be considered first green day. Wednesday, peak formation low, and then we get the breakout day one to the upside. Maybe first green day. And then the trend move yesterday, the continuation to the upside. If this wasn't breakout day one, which I can go down, check. It's kind of close. So either way, we got a breakout day now. Going back up towards the upside. Triggered a low. Now we're going back up. So all of you should be screaming right now in the back of your mind, okay, it was a breakout day. We don't really have a signal day. But they close outside of the previous day's high. All of you, in my mind, should be screaming, hey, the market only does three things and they broke out. So I need to project that level across. All right. So now we're looking at potentially maybe day one, day two, and day three of the week, today being Friday, and we're at the high of the current week. So we're on day three. We're at the high of the current week. On the day itself, it looks like we were making higher highs and higher lows. We got a decent pullback here. They went higher, and then they broke down and went lower. I'm going to count this probably as a low. End of day consolidation, maybe. I'm going to count this as a lower low. So on the day itself, we're making lower lows and lower highs as of right now. Of course, that can change. However, we're in breakout to the upside. So what could happen? We could be at the high of the week. We get a peak formation high and a lower low for a pump up on day three. So higher high, lower low on day three for the pump and the up, and then the dump back down to go lower. Or we are measuring down from the high of the day, 3 levels of drop. We go into consolidation at the low, and then we start getting the trend move in combination with the breakout day back up towards the upside. So now I have identified exactly what I want to look for. I can go down to a lower time frame and say, based off of the larger time frame, which is the previous day's high and low, we're in breakout to the upside. What should I be looking for or looking at? Give her all these silly lines here. We're making lower lows and lower highs on the day. What would I actually want to see before we start looking for a long? I would have liked to have seen a higher high. I don't have that yet. So right now I'm going to stick with maybe this is a pump up, 3 legs. Push 1, push 2, push 3. Maybe we get a 930 open that reverses. I don't know. We'll see. And monthly breakout as well. Yeah, exactly. So I want to be aware of both scenarios. The fact that this could go vertical back up towards the upside, and that would just be a trend trade in line with the breakout on day 3. Let's check 3 levels of drop. Check those measurements. It looks like we've got peak formations made above 50 in what appears to be a 25 pip box. We got a peak low, we got a peak high above and below the 50 level and the 75 level. So maybe I'm counting down 3 levels of drop. We got the peak formation. Actually, I would say the peak formation was made above 75. So this is probably going to be a good reference to use to start counting. We could do 3 levels of 25, 25, 25, and 25. That would put us down at double zeros. We got a peak formation made below double zeros. So if I was looking for the trend trade, maybe that's going to be my level. It seems like the market could be moving in 25 pip increments, even though this is the NASDAQ. That just seems like the volatility for the day, of what could be moving in, if you will. So maybe 25 or double zeros is my level. We got a peak formation made at double zeros. I need to mark this off as my 3 levels of drop. I'll put a little question mark there to see for trend. And then if we get the pump up, average stop hunt 25 to 50 pips, maybe my pump up level could be up in this realm to come back down. Push 1, push 2, push 3. We get, reversals at 930 around this level. Could be good. Okay. Everybody good with NASDAQ? Does both lines of questioning kind of make sense or thought process? Or did anything I just do, was this a different language? Is anybody here new? Anybody here a little bit newer to the system that It's like, holy cow, what the heck is this guy going on about? 4 hour looks bearish? Maybe. Remember, I try to avoid doing things like that where it's like, oh, well, the 1 hour looks like this or that. Sometimes the 1 hour definitely matters, but also you see 1 hour charts that look like they're the best 1 hour up chart you've ever seen, and then it goes vertical to the downside. Okay, you're a bit new. Hopefully this is somewhat making sense. Maybe you've watched a few of my videos. I would go back and maybe watch. If you're trying to review the system, I wouldn't be watching the live streams as much. I would be maybe watching the live streams for good thought process building. Like that's what these are meant to do. Is the long form content on my channel is meant to teach different types of trades, if you will, on how to identify the characteristics and what I look for entries. These live streams are more for thought process on the day, thought process when you're doing your charting, thought process when you're trying to build a thesis. Both, I think, are equally as important. Educational, yeah. Okay, NASDAQ is good. Let's go to US 30. See if we can find something better. Zoom out a little bit. I'll go to the 1 hour. It doesn't really matter. You can do 15, 1 hour. Now, I need to go back to NASDAQ real quick because this was something that I did not mention. The NASDAQ finally has broke a major level. Throughout the entire week, we have not triggered previous day's high or previous week. And now, yesterday, we triggered the previous week's high, and we actually broke out of the previous week's high, which is important because that means, or it could mean, that there is a much higher probability of this being maybe less of a choppy market. And, you know, we've got all players involved now, the weekly traders, the daily, the 4 hour, 1 hour, all the way down to a 1 minute chart. Everybody's involved. So the big money's in there and moving this thing around. And not to say that US 30 is not, it's just an observation. Again, it's just something to notice and understanding whenever you get an inside week, what is the behavior of what an inside week looks like? Usually the volatility is a lot lower. And a lot of times this is exactly what it looks like, just whipping back and forth all week long. And please don't take my word for it. Go and just look at any other week that was inside of the previous week's high and low and look at the behavior of what happened. And in most cases, it's going to be like that, where it just kind of whips back and forth. So that was something that I immediately noted when I was coming to look at the US 30. Maybe discount the signal days a little bit more. But at the end of the day, something that's great about this is I know the market is only going to do three things. So yes, we're not broken out necessarily on a previous week's level, but I can look at the day and say, hey, this was the opening range for the week. What has happened in relationship? We had a peak formation high put in on Tuesday. We got a peak formation low put in on Wednesday. And then we get breakout day one, the vertical move yesterday on Thursday, which took place late in the session. But just for the sake of explaining setups and understanding setups, whenever I have a peak formation high at the high of the week and a peak formation low at the low of the week, any of you who have done the webinar with me should be jumping out of your seat and throwing things at the screen right now, because this is almost identical to some of the examples that I showed in that slideshow. Remember, if you have done the webinar with me, which I know a bunch of you in here have because I see your names, those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday slides. In the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I showed an example of you get peak formations made at the high of the week and the low of the week, and then it goes vertical towards the downside. And then in the Monday, Tuesday, or the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday slides, this exact template showed up, but on the back side of the week. This is it right here, except it showed up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This one showed up yesterday, and unfortunately, it happened too late in the session for a trade to be taken. But anyways, it's just the identification of the template that I wanted to kind of point out. Beautiful, just the wrong time of day. Peak formation high, peak formation low. That tells me to look for ascending channels. It tells me to look for squeezing patterns. Maybe things like higher highs, 3 pushes into the low, and an ascending triangle going vertical towards the upside. Things like that. Perfect. We got a peak formation made at the low of the day, a higher high, and the first pullback, continuation up towards the upside, as it should. Failed to break out the low of the week. All right, so now yesterday. I know all that stuff doesn't really help you with today, so I'm going to keep telling the story from left to right. On Thursday now, breakout day. We're at the high of the current week. We're in breakout to the upside. Okay, opening range. Market is only going to do 3 things. Whenever I see a day close and breakout, very next thing you need to do, or I need to do, is project this level across. Okay, are we in breakout pullback mode? Have we broken down on the day? Josh, hey Cam, hope you're doing good. Did you do gold and oil? No, I have not. Fauci, thank you for letting them know. Clean shave too. Yeah, you know, I got to clean up every once in a while. Can't just keep looking raggedy all the time. Although I do like the beard, but I don't know. I might keep a clean shave for a bit. Let's see here. Okay, so that breakout level, got it going across on the day itself, making lower lows and lower highs, but overall maybe just pulling back off the previous day's high. So let's measure down. Just in case. Maybe we're going to find a zone or a level that we could trade from. All right, so at the beginning of the day, it kind of looks like a 50 pip box, and then we broke out of this 50 pip box. You can kind of see the peaks in above 75. We got peaks in below 25, so this puts us in a 50 pip box. And then we broke out of that 50 pip box, and I'm just going to highlight this, the consolidation. This could be our ground level. And then we break down and we start going outside of the ground level, which tells me to look for and look in 50 pip increments. So we can measure down 50, 50, 50. All right, so now we're at, what is that, 75? And nicely enough, we do actually have a peak formation put in place below 75. They extended it down to 50, which is fine. So I'm just going to do this, take this like this, take this like this. I'm going to put this in as 3 levels of drop, because this could give me a level to be watching. This is the low of the day, the low of the current day, and we do have the 3 levels of drop, which is nice if something were to present around this area. However, the peak formation is already in, and it happened before 7 o'clock. So this was kind of like maybe where we're, you know, we get this higher high over here. Is that valid? Maybe not. It would have been really nice if we saw like higher high and then we get the 3 levels of drop. That would have been even better. Because right now we're just kind of breaking down. I'm going to see if I can find something better. This is, we're in breakout, so I'd be looking for 3 levels of drop for the trend move, but also with a pullback this deep, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Maybe this is trap volume at the high of the current week in a ranging market. See if we can find something better. Let's go on to oil. Get this chart pulled up. All right, so oil is another one that has triggered previous week's low. Triggered it yesterday. Had just not triggered the previous week's high. Now, this is also one that I was watching because it had triggered previous, and if you didn't watch my last Saturday's video, you really should go back and watch that thing because it would have helped you with so many different trades this week. But anyways, they broke the previous day's high back over here, which could be an indication for a dump and a pump. Day 1 of the cycle. Then we get peak formation high, peak formation low. We continue to go back down towards the low. And then we break back up towards the upside. So now we're in first green day, breakout day 1, breakout day 2, breakout day 1 back down to the downside. We trigger our previous week's low, which of course could indicate the continuation to the downside. But we got a failed breakout yesterday. We have a large dumping day, Wednesday, breakout day 1. Breakout day 2 that fails to go lower, and we get a first green. Day 1, day 2, today's day 3. So, what does anybody see on this day? Does anybody see anything that stands out for this day that you should be maybe considering? Oh, come on. I know a lot of you have been in these streams longer, or for a while. Good. First green day. Fantastic. Love the interaction. So yes, you've got the breakout level that could be projected across, but the big thing is, because we're looking for signal days, you know, these other two, I really didn't have signal days. All I had was we closed in breakout, which means the market only does 3 things, should be the next thing going through my head. Project that breakout level across, look for trend trades or reversal trades at the high or low of the current week. That's it. That's the only thought process that I go through. And then I understand the characteristics of how to identify structure to help me identify which of those 2 things to look for. And that's kind of with the lack of signal day. But now we have a signal day. We have a large dumping day. We have a day that is at the low of the current week. We attempted to go lower, and then we closed back up above not only yesterday's close, but today's open. Okay, so this was open. Yesterday's open. Okay, I'll put that up there. I'll put the Y. So this is yesterday's open, previous day's close, whatever. So now we have the close back up on the inside of the week's range, which is also possibly a break in structure. I'll go down to a lower time frame. You can see the peak formation, though. Large W looks good. I'm going to label this first green. Okay, day 1, Wednesday. Day 2, Thursday. Today's day 3, Friday. So on the day I would be looking for or want to see a low of day opportunity. I want to see something make a higher high. I want to see it pull back in 3 pushes, and I want to see it go vertical. Well, dang, doesn't that kind of look like maybe it's already happened? Because they've triggered previous day's high right before the London session opened. So this is 2 o'clock right here. They triggered the high. So this is the break of structure that we might have needed in order to start looking for the long. Okay, then it starts to break down. Okay, we start coming back down and looking for maybe 3 pushes. Break down once, break down twice, break down a third time, ending in 1, 2, and 3. And then the engulfment to go back up towards the upside. This happened at a bad time. This is in the gap time. Now, if we would have inserted this exact pattern into the New York session, this was 9:30 or so, this would be perfect, or maybe 9 o'clock. Because this exact template just showed up, I think, 2 weeks ago. And this was the 9 o'clock open, which is, you know, the oil market's opening time. And I know that one of the guys that was trading with me in the webinar, he ended up taking this trade, which was awesome. Not this one, but this exact template 2 weeks ago. So this was good. Higher high, 3 pushes back down into the low. But maybe the trade has already happened. So what I'm trying to do is spark the don't FOMO, don't chase, don't blah, blah, blah. You know, I want you all to think and be capable of thinking about, hey, what's the evolution of the template? Where should I be taking these trades from? Higher high, 3 pushes into the low at the low of the day is optimal. That's where it's supposed to be taken. And on top of that, the kind of the nail in the coffin, the 2 thumbs up thing that I would just be like, you know, wink, wink. Projecting that level across and then noticing, hey, they came back down and they can't get back below there. That's the lowest close within the week, if I'm not mistaken. We can't seem to get any lower. Like, that's a good sign that this might be a decent trade. Now, this is the wrong time of day, and this is going to bring us into the New York session. Do I think that it could go back up or keep going up? Sure, maybe. And the question would be, is it worth chasing? Do I have an opportunity that makes sense for me to take that trade? Or maybe I need to look at it as maybe I can get a high of day stop hunt back towards the low if that were to present. You know, we get a big pump up on the day, peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, makes a lower low, they pump it back up. And even if I just take a 50 pip stop hunt back towards the low, it would be a session trade. I could maybe do that. But the big trade in my mind has maybe already played out first green. I don't really want to necessarily chase this to the upside. So we'll kind of see. But hopefully that thought process has helped you all a little bit. You know, we do have a lot of upside room. This is kind of where the dump began. That was rude. There we go. It's kind of where the dump began, up here at the high of the week, where we put in the peak formation high and we get first red day. So maybe that's where we're going. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Okay, let's go on to gold. Gold has been unstoppable. Week 1 breakouts 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're into 7 weeks of breakouts to the upside. We have triggered previous week's high on this pair, which is good. That means that maybe we have lots of big money in here. Surely we've triggered previous month's high. And I think we're pretty much up at the all-time high. Okay, so this is our high of week level, high of current week. And we've traded back up toward it. High of Tuesday. Peak formation high on Tuesday. Peak formation low made on Wednesday. Yesterday was a breakout day to the upside, and that puts us back up towards and at the high of the week. So, do I have a signal day? Not necessarily. I have a breakout day, but we're not necessarily in breakouts higher than the high of the current week, if that makes sense. I guess what I would be saying is, you know, if we were in breakouts, this is the high of the current week, and then yesterday closed like up here. You know, it's kind of more in breakout. Yes, we're in breakout from the previous day's level. And that opens us up to today. So now we're into a front side of a move. We've come off peak formation low. We got kind of like peak 1, peak 2, maybe coming up for peak 3. Again, that's very subjective. Let's come down to a lower time frame. Okay, so we're making higher highs and higher lows. It looks like up until maybe this point over here. We get a breakout of the day's high. Higher high. Comes back down. Now we got a lower low. And we've been making lower lows and lower highs. Is that going to continue? I have no idea. Thinking this is probably going to be my box coming into the session. So we'll see. And again, similar to everything else that does not have a signal day, looks like we just hit that news. Cool. Everything that does not have a signal day, which this one does not, we don't have 3 days of breakouts. We don't have first red, first green. We don't have anything like that. All we have is a breakout day, a breakout close. So my thoughts are, market only does 3 things. Higher high, lower low on the day. Let's see kind of what happens now. And that's how I'm going to go into the session with it. I think that this is one that I should be watching. I think the NASDAQ having triggered previous week's levels, I could probably watch this as a breakout day sort of trade. I'm still kind of interested in oil. I think it has more things that need to take place before I would obviously be willing to take trades on it. And it would just be a session trade. Gold. If we get back up to the high of the week at 9:30, it might be interesting. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's kind of early in the session. Either looking for a reversal or a trend, though. That's the only 2 options I've got. All right, let's take a look at the Russell. Maybe the better of the indexes. I don't know. I don't know about better, but maybe different, I would say. We had the big down close day on Wednesday. That was a breakout day, breakout close. Holy cow, this is looking really similar to... I can't do this. I have to show you all. It's bothering me too much that you all don't get to share in the excitement. Or maybe I'm just weird. It's probably the second one. When I see templates that look exactly the same or very similar to other things that I have already seen and cataloged, if you will, it just makes me happy to see stuff like that. So look at this. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Big down close day, breakout day, consolidation, starts making higher highs and higher lows and goes vertical the next day. Boy, we're going to come down here. We'll take a look at some more of these templates. These are all breakout templates. Peak formation at the high of the week, starts making lower lows and lower highs and goes vertical back towards the low of the week. Peak formation made at the low of the week, starts making higher highs and higher lows and goes vertical back towards the high of the week. The peak formation being made down low in a consolidated week, spiking down through the low, the breakout failing the next day and going vertical. That leads us into today, which part of that trade already took place yesterday. But now we're in the breakout. The breakout has maybe failed. We got an inside day, possibly a first green day. All right. How long have we been going down? Okay, so this has not triggered previous week's high or low. This is another inside week so far. Maybe we got to be careful with this. Are you saving this stream to review later? Probably all of my streams. That's why I do them on YouTube. I used to do these on Discord, and people said that they really wanted to be able to see it and go back and review, so I started making them on YouTube. They're all saved, and they're all in the same, they're in a playlist. All right, so peak formation low. We get trap volume maybe down at the low of the week. Inside day, we've triggered the high of the inside bar. I've only got two options. Yesterday was a signal day, okay? Day 1, day 2, day 3. What are my two options? Well, trend or reversal. That's it. That's all I've got. So for a reversal, what would I have wanted to see? Some kind of stair step, maybe back to the high. And a lower low. And a lower high for a breakdown. To maybe go back for the other side of the range. Maybe. Okay, that would be a thesis. I've got 3 peaks or 3 pushes to the high. Peak 1, peak 2, peak 3. Higher high. Lower low. If we get reversal signals going back down towards the low, engulfing candles, 5-minute chart. We've made the lower low and we've popped back up. Push 1, push 2, maybe push 3. We're at levels. If we start getting engulfments and peak formations, lower highs going back down, well, maybe the inside bar trader is trapped and maybe we're going to go back for their money at the other side of the range. Or the market has made a higher high and this is actually going to turn into an expansion of the range back up towards the high. That's the only two things that I could look for. And to be honest, the first one makes the most sense to me because of what the day, trading what I see and not what I think will happen. Peak formation, high, or 3 peaks, 1, 2, 3, lower low, looking for the lower high. That's what I see right now. So I think that's what I'm probably going to be searching for. If that presents in the session, great. If not, see you later. Go vertical to the upside and be free. Okay, I keep seeing over and over again USCAD. Let's go take a look at it. Yeah, this one's, it's been going down, down, down. I'm on a 15-minute chart right now. It looks like maybe last week. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Hold on, what in the world? Man, this thing was flat for a long time. Holy cow. All right. Hey, this is cool to note. Market, go up. Market, go into level 3 and consolidate sideways. Market, try to go higher. Market, fail. Okay. All jokes aside, this week put in a high and a low. High, low. And then that low was a breakout of, if I'm not mistaken, Was it of, or is it this week that we're in breakout? No. I just need to unscrunch the chart a little bit so I stop feeling crazy. There we go. Previous week's low, and then we broke out to the downside. So basically, this was breakout week 1 down, which could tell me or indicate to me to look for a 3-day template on the current week to the downside. So you have the pump up, opening range for the week, number 1. First red day, day 1 of the 3-day cycle. Day 2 of the cycle, breakout day 1 to the downside. Holy cow, this hurts. It hurts to see how perfect this is. Did anybody trade the CAD this week? Did anybody see it the exact way that I'm saying it right now and trade this? Breakout week 1 to the downside. First red day. High of day, first red day trade. Breakout day 1, evolution of the template. Push 1, push 2, push 3 to the high. 9 o'clock, 9:30, vertical to the downside. Trend trade in a down moving market. Same thing here. High of day trend trade. Breakout, pullback, continuation. Breakout, pullback, continuation. Breakout, pullback, continuation. Breakout, pullback, continuation. So this is looking good. Week 1 of breakouts. Week 1 of breakouts down. Template. Week 1 of breakouts down. Template. All right. So we've got 3 days of shorts being triggered into the market. Break 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going into 4. We got 3 pushes outside of the opening range. We're in the first week of breakouts down. Maybe this is a strong trend. Maybe I should be looking for the trend trade. If there was a pop-up that was big enough for, to sustain me taking the short, then great. Am I going to chase it and start getting in at the low of the current day? Probably not, especially being 3 days of breakouts down. Maybe, and you have to be aware of both sides, in my opinion. It's always good to be aware of both. We have a high and a low. They break and make a higher high. Now, this is just on a 5-minute chart. Does that really have an insane amount of significance? No. But they've made a higher high, and they're going back down towards the low. So do I want to get caught in a trap at the low? I want to be aware of what's going on. So we've got the higher high. Maybe they're coming back down in a creeping trend. Stacey Burke always saying this, and I think he says that someone else says this. Creeping trends can always only result in 2 things, either a blow-off in the direction of the trend, parabolic channels, or you can get a strong parabolic reversal blowing off in the opposite direction. So like right now, we've got the creeping trend down towards the low. The waviness, they're just dipping it a little bit lower and a little bit lower and a little bit lower. And it's either going to blow off and go vertical, or you'll get that compression into the low, and then all of a sudden, it'll just start going vertical to the upside. Either one's nice, honestly. Either one would be good in this scenario. CAD's looking good, though. I don't know who asked me for this, but the CAD looks nice. I don't know about for today. But I would be definitely considering 3 days of breakouts down, 3 days of shorts triggered into the market. And there's a higher high. Watch that creeping trend. See if it does something at a good time. But also aware that, hey, this is week 1 of breakouts down. Maybe we're in something like this where they just keep on going and going and going, and you can't catch the reversal because there isn't one, and they just keep on dragging you down. It's a possibility. So that would be the other side of the trade to be aware of and cautious of. Anybody who asked it? Okay, good. So this hopefully answered your questions. Any other pairs? What other pairs do you all want to see? Start listing them out. I know there's got to be more that you all want to see. I would go through every single one, but obviously that's going to take an eternity. So if you just list them out to me, which ones you think are setting up well, I'll be able to get through them a little bit more efficiently. Silver. Hey, the pound dollar doesn't look horrible. This looks interesting. How many weeks up do we got? Breakout week 1 was 3 weeks ago. Then we get a bit of a reset, possibly. They hit both sides. And then now we're back up to the high of the current or the previous week. In breakout. 3 days of breakouts or 3 days of longs trigger into the market at least. And now we're back up at the high of the day. This is interesting. Base, not really much space. Euro USD. Max, I have no idea what you're talking about, but all right. Euro USD. Okay. I can see where you're going with that. Has the market been going down or been going up? It's kind of been just going sideways, hasn't it? It looks like we got a previous week's high trigger a couple weeks ago. So maybe like week 1, week 2, and maybe now it's week 3. We've triggered previous week's high. Maybe this was a dump for a pump. Maybe we're going back for the high. We triggered the previous week's high, dumped it back down, went into consolidation, and now we're making that march back up. 3 days of breakouts to the upside. This looks pretty clean. We got a breakout day Wednesday, Thursday, breakout day, and now today, Friday. We're going to blow off? I don't know. But we're at the high of the day, so this is not probably something I would be willing to get in on. I would have been willing to get in on it if it was like higher high, peak formation. This is a higher high outside of the previous day's high, and then it were to pull back down to the level because that's a template trade. This is the template trade right here. Higher high, 3 pushes down into the low, peak formation made at a level, higher high. Notice the lower lows, and then the higher high, breakout pullback, and then I get in this channel. But all this happened in the gap time coming into 8 o'clock and stuff. So I would be a little bit late to the party. If anybody else is already in the same thought process, have got in on this, then good for you. Good on you. Appreciate it, Max. Let's see. FTSE. US Swiss backside. All right, I'll go look at it here in a second. Oh, I keep copying the price. What the heck? FTSE. All right. FTSE's interesting. Sometimes this thing moves incredibly well, and then a lot of times it does this. But then sometimes you just get these really clean runs. All right, on the week itself, Wednesday closed in breakout up, and then yesterday we closed in breakout down. Well, dang. Was that London? Which would make sense. Okay, peak formation high, high of current week. Spikes down, peak formation low. This is a lower low back down on the inside. Okay, so project this level across. Maybe even look at yesterday's close. Look at how the day, yep, we're going to do this, began. There was a fantastic trade in London. I mean, beginning of a new hour, breaks down, goes vertical. This is perfect place to enter. Back down to the low of the previous day. Again, this is measuring up. We're in breakout to the downside. You measure up 3 levels of rise from the low of the day, low of the previous day. And then that gives you a strike zone, and it looks like this maybe already happened in London. Would I be willing to continue this? I don't know. Shaky, I think that the trade based off of the template was in London. Could there maybe be follow-on continuation? I don't know, but I might be trading direction if I try to do that. Personal opinion. US Swiss. Nice. Hey, so this is definitely going to be another London trade. And it's going to be based off of, again, criteria. It's not, wow, the market already has been moving, so of course it happened in London. It's, what happened leading up to the trade, what details took place. And you can see it just by looking. Even if I just did this. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we're in breakout to the downside, so that detail tells me project this level across and then measure up from previous day's low 3 levels to look for a continuation because the market only does 3 things. 1. Number 2, in Asia, they extended the low of the day down. So now I need to measure up 3 levels from the low of the current day because they extended the lower low. So this is the lower low to look for the pump for the dump. So details are lining up pretty well. Let's go down to a lower time frame and we can do some measuring. Now, this is the Swiss, so it might just be a 25 pip box. I actually have no idea. And it is a 25 pip box. So I'm measuring from 25 to 25. I understand that's not 3 levels of 25. It's not even 3 levels of really anything. But you're in a 25 pip box. And then this, because you're on a lower volatility pair. So maybe this is going to be my level to trade from. Okay, structure rules. Higher highs and higher lows. We've got valid swings in here. They made a lower low. They went back to the high. Okay, so now we get an engulf. Oh, we got 2 engulfments. What time is this? 3. So this is the new hour. This is 5 minutes into the new hour. We got a pin hammer at the high of the day. Does this seem like a pretty decent entry? We got a lower low and then a high that maybe has just failed to go any higher. This might not be a bad, and we're at levels. We're at the place where we need to be. Yeah, seeming like maybe this was that would have been a good trade. And then where does the target supposed to be? It gets back down to the low of the day. Lower low, look for the pump for a dump. I don't know that it's going to happen. We get it pumped up. They make a lower low. They retest the high, which is going to happen in most cases. Some form of retest of the high. After the lower low, there's going to be some form of retest, and that's where I get the 3 pushes thing from. But at the end of the day, you could just label or think about, hey, how are they going to retest the high? In this case, they extended it, and it failed to go higher, which was the retest of the high, okay? If you just Google and YouTube Al Brooks talking about trendline breaks in a retest or structure, lower lows and retests and higher highs and retests, you'll be able to find all that information. And those are just price action notes in general. But anyways, so the lower low and then looking for 3 levels of rise, peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, lower low, retest the high, engulfment at a certain time of day, new hour, 5 minutes in, perfect. If I've missed this entry because I was unsure, they even give me follow-on opportunity. I know that this is not helping you for the New York session, but what the point that I'm trying to get across is if I'm focused and looking for the template, maybe the template's already played out. So let's go and see now, is there another template or evolution of the template that has played out that I could maybe be looking at or looking for? No. Hopefully that has accurately and beneficially helped you with thought process. And these streams, the whole entire purpose of these is getting really good at pair selection. If you really think about it, that's all I'm doing is trying to help you all get better with pair selection and getting good with the evolution of templates and how your thought process could work. Any other pairs? We got 5 minutes. We'll hit an hour on the dot. All right, and it actually looks like maybe we're doing one of these. I'll take from the low of the day to the high of the day. And looks like maybe we've now expanded the range twice. Put your hand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other pairs to be seen that you don't want to see, I think this has been a pretty good stream. And just before I go, I'll go back and review one, really quick. I was watching this to see if they were going to put in a lower high because they made the lower low. They've gone back to the high of the day. Is this the high of the day retest, or is the retest not a retest? Are we breaking out and continuing to go higher? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. Holy cow. Okay. Yeah. So this was a breakout to the upside. And I had said higher high and lower low. And then maybe we're going to, maybe today's going to fail. I don't know. We just spiked through the low of the day. Is that a lower low? Am I looking for a pump for a dump? Thought process. Building. Oil. Yesterday was first green. I said, hey, I think maybe the first green day trade has already taken place. We got a higher high now and a lower low. Maybe not quite a lower low, but a 3 peaks pattern nonetheless. Am I willing to trade this? I don't know. Probably not. Okay, US 30. We're in breakout to the upside. Market only does 3 things. That's my only thought process. I've got 3 levels of drop. I just need to watch this coming into 9:30 to see what kind of pattern we get. Same thing here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great stream. I hope this has been beneficial to you all at the very least with thought process and, just a little bit better every single day. And every time you all do these streams, I hope that you're getting better and you feel like you're getting better. That's the whole purpose of them. You have a good rest of your day. Good rest of your weekend. I've got a video coming out for you all this weekend as well. Should be pretty good. As always, hopefully. Let me know what you think. You have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.